So, I don't know if you guys know this, but I have been eating an ungodly amount of cheese these last few weeks. Rather than going for a chocolate advent calendar, so apparently the UK now does cheese ones, which God bless.
Do you keep it in the refrigerator?
Yes. I mean, this is a problem. It's big because it's like really thick and you have to shove it in the fridge. But it's like the highlight of my morning, and I open it in the morning, which is pretty disgusting.
So you just eat hunks of cheese like for breakfast.
Yeah.
They're not big cheeses though, right? They're just like little bite-sized boys.
They're like a good chunk of cheese, I'll be honest.
That's good. Yeah, that's cool.
And I've been posting them on my Instagram as just like I don't know. I don't do a lot, so I need to find things to post to look.
You're
active.
like content, constantly trying to find content.
Yeah, it's like the cheese. That's a great bit of content, and it's been one of the most popular things I've ever posted on any platform. Like the amount of messages that I get about people wanting to find out what cheese it's gonna be.
I think I even like sent you one the other day because I was like annoyed. It was like 2:00 in the afternoon. I was like, "Where's the cheese?" Like. I'm here for the cheese, like, and nothing. Where did you get it? Because it's honestly the best advertisement ever. Because I definitely want to get one next year.
They should sponsor you next year.
Absolutely.
I've seen them. I think it was Tesco. I know Asda also does it, and it's one particular brand, which I can't remember what it is, but it's like their line of cheese, which is like the best marketing thing I've ever thought of, because I'm literally every morning taking pictures of my stupid little pieces of cheese.
Don't call them stupid.
In the spirit of Christmas.
I think my favourite part of it, because I've been watching your Instagram stories as well, is the fact that you just shred the jokes on the side. You're like, that is the worst joke I have ever heard.
Those jokes are not high quality. I don't know whose children are sending in those jokes. They should have been vetted. Like,
I agree.
They're probably full
some of them are pretty
adults,
terrible.
aren't they? Yeah.
It goes along with Hannah got me a birthday present this year. And I'll have to tell. I'm going to post a picture of his birthday present.
I was so worried.
Because it is a cheese board, and she had engraved on the cheese board "cheese slut." And it is amazing. I cannot wait for when I have all my family over on Boxing Day to reveal my cheese slut board.
I ordered it from Etsy, and I was like, you have to kind of like put in what personalization you want, and all the ones on their website had, all the ones on there, like the pictures said things like Tom's cheese or like cheese lover, and I was like, nah, I want to put cheese slut on it. And then I did it, and then it took ages for the order to be like accepted and processed, and I was just like really, really concerned that they weren't going to engrave cheese slut on a cheese board, but they did. It's fantastic.
It was beautiful.
It was better than I expected it to be.
Oh, it was hilarious. It was so good. And that's so funny because I would love to be the person on the receiving end of that order. Like, what? It's so good. Anyway, we're definitely full of lots of cheese so far. It's not even Christmas Day yet.
Oh, but it is.
Oh, yeah. Shit, cut that out. Guess what, guys? We're not recording on Christmas Day.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Murder Friends, the podcast where three friends from three different countries talk about murder. My name's Alana, and I'm Canadian.
I'm Anna, and I'm American.
My name's Hannah, and I'm British.
So sit back and relax, you're among friends, and let's talk murder.
Merry Christmas!
It's Christmas.
So glad we could all spend Christmas with you guys listening, and you too, and just kidding. Obviously, it's not Christmas Day, but this episode is releasing on Christmas, so we decided it could be nothing else but a Christmas special. So what I really want to know first is, what do you guys have planned this year? Anything special? What food are you eating? It's not really what you have planned. I want to know what food you're eating, because that's all that really matters.
We've literally just been talking about cheese for like a solid few minutes, and you're like, what are we going to eat?
Still there.
This is now a food podcast. I'm not sure if you're aware.
Sorry.
I've just done my Christmas food order because I hate going to the grocery stores. One of those things that I thought, you know what? I just don't want to do this anymore. So I have fully converted to online food shopping, like absolutely 100%. So I've done my food shop order. So I've got like a ridiculous amount of food to feed a party, and it's gonna be for 2 people.
Amazing.
I've got exactly. So I've got my I usually use Ocado because it's like pretty decent, and I got a lot of really good food. So you got your potatoes. We got some roast veggies, a turkey, stuff to make Yorkshire puddings, pigs in blankets, plus multiple desserts, plus a couple of appetizers. But then also, Marks and Spencer does some really nice Christmas food. So I've got 8 orders from Marks and Spencer coming on the same day with a variety of other things to consume.
That's amazing.
It's so much food. I'm nervous now.
I'm so jealous. That sounds amazing. You don't even have to share it with really anybody. So it's great.
You don't have to leave the house.
Yeah.
No, just bring it to me and I'll eat it.
Amazing. What about you, Hannah? Any food besides mince pies?
Mince pies. I actually I ordered Fortnum's hampers for my family this year because I'm really lazy and I'm so tired. So I just ordered those. And while I was there, I was like adding extra things to like my order to like come, and I ordered some like Fortnum's mince pies. So I bet they're going to be amazing. But you guys won't know that. You won't know that.
We won't.
But I actually spent the weekend running loads of errands for Christmas, which included like going to the butcher's to like order my meat and then like putting in my veg order and stuff like that. So I'm going for like a local Christmas.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
That's great.
There's a really lovely like farm shop near us. I think Anna, you've been before.
Yeah, I've been
haven't
there.
you?
I think I've been there because I've seen your Instagram before, and I was like, wow, that was good.
Yeah, no, it's lovely. So
Get me some of that.
Yeah,
yeah, we're going for a local Christmas this
that's
year.
great. And so, what kind of? Wait, so this is gonna sound silly. So in America, we have ham on Christmas Day. The ham's what we have. What do you have in Canada?
Oh, turkey all the way.
Turkey.
You could have ham as like your secondary meat, but turkey has to be the main meat.
Does that not get confusing with like Thanksgiving and having turkey there?
Yeah, because what do you guys
like
have for
double turkey?
Thanksgiving?
True, but the nice thing with Canada, our Thanksgiving is like early October. So by the time we come around to mid-December, you're ready for turkey again.
Smart.
Yes, our Thanksgiving is way too close. You're like, 4 weeks later, 5 weeks later, you're eating turkey again. You make another turkey. So a lot of people, it's the ham. But obviously living here, we do have turkey. And then we also, I think usually the family gets a ham too. And the ham kind of gets eaten on Boxing Day.
We do like a ham on Boxing Day.
Boxing Day ham, all about that.
But yeah, sometimes we have a goose for Christmas Day,
Oh, yeah.
which is good. Or they do those like 3-bird roasts now, which I think you can get pretty much anywhere.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
They're quite fun, yeah.
So I don't want to, but I'm gonna move away from food now. Just in case there is a listener, I don't know who would be listening, that doesn't love food as much as we do. Obviously, Christmas brings families together, don't they? And usually in some way ends up in some sort of stories or what have you. Do you guys have any good stories or?
I've got a great one which actually involves food. So I'm going to segue.
good.
Oh, nice segue. Okay.
Segue, yeah. So when we moved into our house, we hadn't been here long. I think it was like our second Christmas or first Christmas or something. And we invited my husband's mother over, my mother-in-law over. We get on really well now. She's lovely, really is lovely. But she came over for Christmas dinner. So this is like the beginning of like moving in, nothing's in the right place, and like I hadn't cooked like a full Christmas dinner before. It's my first Christmas dinner ever. So I was really worried that it was all just going to be a complete fucking shit show. And it went off like relatively without a hitch. Like everything was fine. The food was edible. Everyone had a good time. Everything was great. And then so she left to go back home for the day. And she then texted me that afternoon. Like it was probably about 5-6 o'clock. And at this point I've drunk like my body weight in mulled wine. And I've like moved on to the heavier stuff. And she texted me and it said, "Thanks very much for having me over. The food was really scummy. See you soon." And I was just like,
Sorry, does scummy have the
fuck?
same definition in North America as it does in the UK?
yeah, like disgusting, like
Yeah.
gross, like scum. Yeah.
Did she
and I
mean
was like-
scrummy?
She meant scrummy, but
That's
she
so
just
harsh.
completely messed it. And I was just like, I kind of just sat there like, the audacity. I've spent hours cooking cleaning, sorting this all out for you, and you text me that. So I sat there and fumed for like a solid 2 hours just on the sofa, just like silently raging to myself, because I don't want to tell my husband, because he's like, you know, he's the perfect angel, and I don't want to like upset him. I'll be like, your mum was really mean to me. And then later she texted me, she was like, oh, sorry, I really meant scrummy. I was like, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it. And I sat there like,
like I've only been seething for 2 hours, but fine, no, it's fine.
Do you know when you just like hear white noise and you just see red? And I was like,
Oh my god.
so yeah, that was my
Painful.
yeah. I really do love my mother-in-law though. She's lovely now, I promise. Even after she called my food shit.
What about you, Alana?
A couple years ago, so my parents in Ontario kind of live in the boonies, like a little bit in the country. So they are on well water, which I don't know how common that is in the UK, but they have like this giant water tank underground that you get filled up like, I don't know, once a year. And so you have your own sort of supply of water. You don't pay the city for water, whatever. So we're at the house. This was obviously back when I was living there, and we had this wicked winter storm, like full ice, full snow, the whole like stereotypical Canada winter. And we lost power, which not the end of the world, but we lost power for 5 days.
Oh my god. I think we say 5 hours or something. No, days.
We're talking 5 full calendar days. And the problem when you are on well water is when you don't have electricity, there's no power to pump the water out of the well and into the house. So when you don't have electricity, you don't have heat, obviously, and we don't have water. So it was like just a week before Christmas, we have no power. We're wearing our snowsuits indoors because it's so cold at this point. So you're sleeping in your giant snowsuit at night.
Oh, that's terrible.
And I just remember thinking like, this is gonna be this is gonna be Christmas. We're gonna wake up in our snowsuits. And it got to the point that it got so cold, we had to stay at my grandmother's, who's like a town or two away, because it was too cold in the house. Like it was just as cold as being outside.
Oh, that's rough.
So my dad and I are driving all around town trying to find a generator, because that seems like a reasonable thing to do, but everybody had lost power. So everybody had bought all the generators. So before we went to my grandma's, we actually would go out to dinner to a place that had heating so we could be warm, and then just stay there as long as it was like polite, and then have to go like because we wanted to still be warm but like not be rude about it.
So Canadian.
Yeah, they finally
So Canadian.
We get heating back like 2 or 3 days before Christmas. Thank God Christmas is saved. And literally the next week we go out and they buy this massive generator that like powers the whole house basically when you lose power. Like it's a heavy duty thing.
Oh my god.
And we've never needed it since. Not a single time. Not one time. But it's there just in case Christmas is almost ruined in the future. Just in case.
Just in case. Would it be like a common thing to have a generator in Canada? Would people normally have it at their house? Like,
it probably is, and we just never had one. And we always, like, we would lose power occasionally because we get really bad storms. And you always think, oh, well, there's no need. You know, there's no need. And then, you know, that happens.
I know, because when I lived in Florida, I was just wondering, because, like, with the hurricane stuff and power getting knocked out, it wouldn't be uncommon for people to have generators. Or, like, New York, a lot of people will have them, or whatever. Gosh, that's terrible. But, hey, maybe it's, like, a good luck thing. So now that you have it, you're never going to lose it again.
Yeah, exactly.
So this time of year, what are your favorite, like, Christmas movies? What do you guys like to watch?
Oh, I know with my parents, my dad always really liked National Lampoon's Christmas, is it Christmas Vacation?
Christmas Vacation?
With Chevy Chase.
Chevy Chase, yeah. I've already watched that with Will.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because every year, too, I always say, you are him. You are Clark Griswold, because Will is like, he is Mr. Like, you know, he's a pretty, you know, not macho, but like manly man. Until it comes to December 1st, and he's Martha Stewart. Like he's making his own oranges where he's like baking them so that they dry out, and he's hanging them all over the place and everything like that. Yeah. What about you, Hannah? What do you like to watch?
I like to watch like films that are like more than one in a series. So we'll watch like all of Lord of the Rings, or we'll do like all of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Like just
So you like to just not, it doesn't even, not even Christmas themed movies,
No,
just
it
at
doesn't
Christmas
have to
you like to
be-
do the whole like box set.
Yeah, box set anything. Yeah, like TV shows as well. We watch a lot of, just like sit down and just watch them through, which
like
is quite
it.
fun. Yeah. What are your favourites, Anna?
I really like, okay, so I like to watch all of the Christmas movies at Christmas. Like I have like a stages. So when I just first get the Christmas decorations out, I always watch The Holiday because I love a bit of Jude Law and in that film. And then, so I always watch that. I like to watch Love Actually. And I love Home Alone. I love all the classics. And like, what else? The Santa Claus. That one's great. I love all of them. And I watch all of them every year. So that is what I'll be doing for the next few weeks. But I've probably already watched 8 Christmas movies.
Oh my God.
Already?
Yeah. So I like Christmas. All right. So today what I was going to do was I had spent quite a bit of time like compiling top 10 Christmas crimes, or, like well-known ones that happened at Christmas and whatever. So I did that, and then reading the list more, and I actually texted you guys yesterday before we were going to record, and I was like, I can't do this. Like all the really big ones, well, they're all so gruesome. Unfortunately, it appears that the thing that happens a lot at Christmas are like family annihilations. And I was like, you know what? I don't really think I want to do like 10 family annihilations.
Not the one.
God.
So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pass. So what I decided to do was I was just gonna pick one and do a bit of a deep dive on it. And it's one of the most famous Christmas time crimes, let alone one of the biggest ones in the true crime community. You'd have to live under a rock not to know about this. And that is the death of JonBenet Ramsey.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
So obviously this isn't an unsolved case, and there's a lot of information out there. So what I really decided to do, because it was so hard to we'd be here for ages trying to go through every detail, but I think I've got it. And the main thing is I was really lucky enough because the Denver Post, at the 20th anniversary of her death, they did like a timeline, like a brief, like it's not too much, but it's quite good at like everything that's happened over sort of the last 20 years. So it kind of like helped me out a lot there. So thank you, Denver Post. I got a lot of information from Wikipedia, obviously. And there's an article on the Business Insider, which I will refer to a little bit more later, but going to use that article as well. So for those of you who don't know, I know for me, this was 1996, and I was, I don't know, I think like 12 or something. Atlanta was a fetus, so she probably doesn't remember. So yeah,
I had not been introduced to Dateline yet.
No, she hadn't been watching Dateline. So it was everywhere. And the fact that people still talk about it quite a lot, it's like, it's a well-known thing. Hannah, do you remember this crime at all, or is it something you learned about later on?
No, nothing at all until later on when you start to get into true crime. It's one of like the big,
Yeah.
like the big guys.
The big guys, you're right. Okay. So for me, I remember it being on the news. It was so big. And there's a very famous picture of her, and she was like the beauty pageants, and that picture you see everywhere, which I'll post on social media, which I'm sure a lot of people have all seen, especially if they're into crime. And it makes it really sad because you realize when I start to get into this, and it does show like, oh, well, her family was quite well off, and she was like a little pretty white girl, and all the attention that it received, it just kind of highlights some of the why this was so sensationalized by the media, and also because there's so much speculation on the crime. So JonBenet Ramsey was born in 1990 in Atlanta, Georgia. She was the younger of 2 children of Patricia and John Ramsey. She had an older brother named Burke. She was in kindergarten at the time, and she went to school in Boulder, Colorado. So the family, she was born in Atlanta, but the family then with John's job, they ended up moving to Colorado. So he was actually also previously married, and he had 2 adult children, but the 2 adult children at that Christmas, they were not around. Patsy Ramsey, as she's known, she entered their daughter in various child beauty pageants that were held in Boulder. So she had a lot of titles. She'd won a lot, but she was so beautiful. I mean, if you've seen the picture, you can see why. JonBenét's active role in child beauty pageants and Patsy's reported pageant mother behavior were very sensationalized by the media as well. So that was why it was such a big highlighted thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get straight into it. So on the 25th of December, 1996, John and Patsy Ramsey say they last saw their 6-year-old daughter alive at bedtime at the family home in Boulder's exclusive, I cannot say this, Chautauqua, I don't know, their neighborhood. JonBenét's 9-year-old brother Burke is also home that night. The 26th of December, so that's the next day, Patsy Ramsey gets up to make coffee around 5:30 a.m. and reports finding a 2.5-page note on a back staircase of the house. The note says that JonBenet has been kidnapped and demands $118,000 in cash. Very strange number. That comes up later, too. The Ramseys call police who begin an investigation into what they believe is a kidnapping. That afternoon, John Ramsey searches the home with a friend and discovers JonBenét's body in a spare room in the basement that was used to hide Christmas presents. She has a skull fracture and has been strangled with is it a garrote?
Garrote.
Garrote?
Garrote.
Garrote? I don't know how to pronounce that word. I know the word. I know what it is, but I wasn't sure about pronouncing it. And her mouth had been covered with duct tape. So her dad finds her with a family friend. First of all, okay, I'm actually going to withhold all opinions until the end, and then we'll chat about it. So I'm going to just lay it all out first, because it's really hard not to comment. The 30th of December, police take blood and hair samples from John Ramsey and other members of the family. Police also say that John Andrew Ramsey and Melinda Ramsey, the 2 children, adult half-siblings, were out of town the day of the murder, so they were already excluded. 1st of January, which brings us into 1997, John and Patsy Ramsey grant an extensive interview to CNN in which Patsy Ramsey proclaimed there is a killer on the loose. John Ramsey calls the idea that he or other members of his family could have committed the crime nauseating beyond belief. That interview is quite famous. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a clip of it, but I don't know who thought it was okay for her to do that interview, but she seems very medicated. So she's not okay. And obviously, of course she's not okay. Her daughter has died. Of course not. But in that interview, I just remember that interview, it just was not, she was probably on some sort of anti-anxiety, just something to calm her down. And it's really obvious. On the 3rd of January, investigators announced that the ransom note appears to have been torn from a tablet of paper found in the house. If authorities are correct, this means that JonBenét's killer wrote the note after arriving in the house. The Ramseys returned to Colorado after JonBenét's funeral. They didn't have the funeral in Colorado. The 13th of February, Boulder Police Chief Tom Kobe and Boulder County District Attorney Alex Hunter hold a news conference where they vow that the killer will be brought to justice. Hunter announces the formation of an expert prosecution task force, including forensic expert Henry Lee and DNA expert Barry Scheck, and they are quite familiar names. I don't know if you hear them on big cases because they were also part of the O.J. Simpson defense team. So again, this is, withholding opinion.
Save all questions till the end.
Yeah, sorry. There's a lot I want to say, otherwise I'm never going to get through it. All right, so we're on the 7th of March. Sources tell the Denver Post, that's where I got this bit, so I'll put that in, that the handwriting experts from Colorado Bureau of Investigation determine John Ramsey did not write the ransom note, but their analysis is inconclusive as to whether Patsy Ramsey authored it. 13th of March. Veteran homicide detective Lou Smith joins the Ramsey murder investigation. Smith, a retired investigator from El Paso County, is best known for cracking the murder case of Heather Dawn Church in Colorado Springs. April 3rd. DNA testing begins at Cellmark Diagnostics in Maryland. This is the second round of testing of DNA in the case. The initial round was conducted at the Colorado Bureau of Investigation labs, so they're still testing. April 18th. D.A. Hunter, for the first time, publicly identifies John and Patsy Ramsey as the focus of the investigation. So at that point, they are suspects. April 30th, police conduct a long-awaited formal interview with John and Patsy Ramsey. This is more than 4 months after JonBenet was found murdered. Patsy Ramsey is interrogated for 6.5 hours. Her husband later is interrogated for approximately 2 hours. Police released no statement about the contents of the interview. So it does seem, obviously, they spent quite a long time with Patsy Ramsey. May 1st, they, in a rare interview with the reporters, declare their innocence. I did not kill my daughter. And says John Ramsey, and his wife states, let me assure you that I did not kill JonBenet. Then we move into 1998, January 15th. The Ramseys refuse to submit to another round of interviews unless they can review the evidence, a condition unacceptable to police. So essentially, they wanted to interview them again, but they said, no, I have to see all your evidence first. Which, when does that happen ever?
That seems normal.
It's white privilege, isn't it?
Yeah. So Governor Roy Romer rejects a request by 2 friends of the Ramsey family to appoint a special prosecutor in the murder case. I think I'm going to say a little bit now, as I go through it, it seemed like some of their friends were very suspicious of them, of what happened as well. So I think a lot of people think it was just not right. January 29th, more than a year after their daughter was murdered, the Ramseys turn over to police the clothing they were wearing the night before JonBenet was found dead. Great, so that's over a year later, they finally take their clothes. This is one thing I didn't really understand about this case, is that, because I've never really kind of deep dived into it that much, but there was a lot of shocking police work done. February 6th, the friends of the Ramseys joined to form an investor group, and they buy the couple's Boulder home. They end up moving back, because they moved back to Atlanta. The 15-room Tudor-style house is put under contract for $650,000, and the address is changed. March 15th, after looking for the killer for JonBenet for 15 months, police say the best bet for solving the murder is a grand jury investigation and formally call for such a probe after conferring with DA Alex Hunter. On June 3rd, the lead investor on the case reports that he's excited about test results recently received on evidence taken from the Ramsey home. So they took some more evidence. The case now includes 1,058 pieces of evidence. Although he will become Boulder's new police chief, Mark Beckner says he remains connected to the Ramsey investigation, but warns that the city's most notorious case has no magic answers. On June 24th rather, John and Patsy Ramsey returned to Colorado for interrogation by district attorney investigators and are questioned together and separately. For the first time, they finally conduct an extensive interview with their son, Burke, now 11. So they wait 2 years to actually even talk to the son at all, which seems insane.
I'm withholding opinions.
Yeah, no, I'm trying so hard. I know. That's why I'm like, I've got to just lay it all out first. On August 8th, in a stinging 8-page resignation letter, an angry detective, Steve Thomas, says Hunter, the DA, that's the DA, Hunter's office is thoroughly compromised and has crippled the case. Thomas charged critical evidence has not been collected and maintained that other evidence wasn't tested. Romer letter asks 4 area DAs whether he should intervene in the case. So obviously other people are screaming that there's something going on here. This isn't being really properly investigated. After that letter, Romer says he does want to help Hunter, not remove him from the case, so he invokes a state statute that allows special deputies to assist the DA. Fleet White, he was the friend that was with John Ramsey when he found his daughter's body, renews his plea for someone other than Hunter to investigate the case. So literally these witnesses are his own friends are like, what are you doing? Sources tell the Denver Post that an enhanced version of the 911 call Patsy Ramsey made the morning she found the ransom note includes Burke's voice in the background. That would contradict earlier statements by the Ramseys that their son was asleep until police arrived. 5 months after they were chosen, Boulder County grand jurors began their investigation. Investigator Lou Smith resigned, saying authorities are focusing too heavy on JonBenet's parents, and his letters says the Ramseys did not kill their daughter and a very dangerous killer is out there. The grand jury then begins hearing forensic evidence, including analysis of handwriting, DNA, and hair and fibers found at the scene. John Ramsey returns to Colorado for a deposition in a civil case filed against him and the National Enquirer by photographer Stephen Mills. Mills has accused Ramsey and the paper of slander after 2 1997 articles labeled him a pedophile and used an unnamed source who said Ramsey believed the photographer killed his daughter. So that ran into a newspaper that Ramsey was trying to deflect that it was a photographer who had done it, but don't really know why they're there. He was just deflecting onto, obviously they were the main suspects. The Denver Post then reported later on that the grand jury will meet just once in December and then take the rest of the month off. It has learned that 5 Ramsey family members have been asked to provide DNA samples to authorities. The 5 are not considered suspects. Sources say authorities want DNA to see if they can be linked to unmatched DNA found in the Ramsey home. There was obviously more DNA they weren't able to match. In 1999, there was a book released, Lawrence Schiller, called Perfect Murder, Perfect Town, kind of offered a little bit more insight and details into the investigation. The book describes the feud between police and prosecutors the moment the investigation began. So who knows that this case couldn't have maybe actually been solved if they'd actually been working together. Like I said, I had no idea it was such like there was all this other conflict with the prosecution and in the police. And it sounds like some shoddy police work. And so 5 alternate grand jurors who had been hearing the evidence in the case since September are sent home, and that's in March, and they'd been hearing it since September.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
That's a real long time. By April 8th, a 6-month extension of the grand jury's investigation is granted. May 19th, Burke, now 12, is secretly questioned by the grand jury. The next day, Boulder authorities publicly affirm he's not a suspect, only a witness. And okay, so this is important. So September 13th, Linda Arndt, she was the very first detective that arrived at their house that day, and she was one of the first ones that worked on the case. And she previously resigned, and she appeared on the show Good Morning America, claiming she knows what happened the night JonBenét was killed. In the 5-part interview, she says she knows who killed the girl, but does not reveal the name.
Well, that's good for ratings.
Yeah, great. October 13th that year, DA Alex Hunter announces that after the grand jury had completed its work, that his team doesn't think it has sufficient evidence to warrant filing of charges. In 2013, documents are released that show a grand jury indictment in 1999 accused John and Patsy Ramsey of 2 counts of child abuse resulting in death in connection with their daughter's death. The charges allege that the parents permitted the girl to be placed in a dangerous situation that led to her death and accused them of helping her kill her. Because Hunter refused to sign the documents, the Ramseys were never officially indicted or prosecuted. So the grand jury actually found that the parents were guilty. Maybe not of murder, but they neglected, obviously, their parental duties somehow. But the DA never signed it, so therefore they were never charged, which seems, what was the freaking point of the...
How is that possible?
I don't know. I'm confused. June 24th that year, Patsy Ramsey dies after battling ovarian cancer for more than a decade. On August 15th, John Mark Carr, I don't know if you've heard about him, a 41-year-old elementary school teacher, is arrested in Thailand after confessing he accidentally killed JonBenét while attempting to sexually assault her. The case against Carr collapses later in August. DNA test results prove that he was not a suspect, despite his public statements that he'd been present during her death. Those results, coupled with lack of evidence placing Carr and Boulder at the time of the murder, lead Boulder DA Mary Lacy to drop the case. So I've only got a little bit left here. In 2008, on new DNA evidence that points to an unknown male as JonBenét's killer, Lacy publicly exonerates the child's parents and immediate family. In a letter hand-delivered to John Ramsey, Lacy says she is confident that a touch DNA analysis done by the private lab has determined that genetic material left on the waistband was from an unknown male. So basically, at that point, they are all exonerated officially. So there is more to it. I just wanted to give you guys, it's such an ongoing, huge case that it's similar to like the Madeleine McCann case in Britain, I would say. You know, it's kind of like that level of like, there's just so much. And because it's been going on for such a long time, there's just so much information. So obviously what I wanted to jump in to next a little bit was like, there's a lot of theories. So obviously a really big thing, there's like tons of stuff on Reddit and all of that, is everyone has their opinions on who actually killed JonBenét.
Allegedly killed.
Yes. Allegedly.
We are definitely not saying anyone did it.
Anyone did it. Sorry.
It's our opinion. We're not qualified to make this opinion. It's alleged.
It's alleged. And this is the article from Business Insider. And it's actually sort of refers to theories about who really killed JonBenét, allegedly. Now, the first theory, obviously, is Patsy Ramsey. And this is quite a popular one, that the parents are responsible. Patsy Ramsey said that she first knew John Bonet was missing when she found the 2.5-page handwritten note. The note is filled with quotes from movies including Dirty Harry, Ransom, and Speed. Analysis of the note says it was probably written by a woman, which many believe to be Patsy. Patsy was believed to be a strict mother. Some claim she physically punished John Bonet for peeing the bed and accidentally killed her, so she staged a kidnapping in order to cover it up. That was one of the theories. So some more things that happened like the night before, I think she had wet the bed. There's so much more I didn't go into because they're just so...
Yeah, it's hard. It's one of those cases where you could, and people have, write multiple books about the evidence and the theories and what somebody said and what happened. It's absolutely massive.
Yes. So what I wanted to do more was like give an overview of the whole like timeline and what happened. So I know that the ransom note, it was a really odd amount of money. It was $118,000, and it matched up with, it happened to be that they had that much money.
Wasn't it the father's bonus that year?
Yes.
And it was like the exact figure of his bonus, and like not many people would have known that.
Exactly. There you go.
So it would have been like, it wouldn't be like they were losing money if they put it in a suitcase sort of thing.
Exactly.
It was like extra on top of what they already earned.
It's like a weird number. Like, you're not, it's not to randomly guess it. It's just weird. Like, you're never going to.
It's really odd. Yeah.
Yes. And
the fact that the note was signed a small foreign faction or something.
Yes.
It's like, we are a small foreign faction. And it's like, what? Excuse me.
The note was just,
sorry?
Yeah.
Just don't tell people who you are if you're going to do a kidnap.
Yeah, just write anonymous. I don't know. The small form.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you sign a ransom note? I don't really know. I think I'd be like, when you like cutting out all those little letters.
Yeah.
Just be tired. Just be like, that's fine. They get the point. Anyway, just kidding. So the second one is obviously John Bennett Ramsey, the father. Actually, her name, by the way, was put together from his middle name, and his first name and the middle name is John Bennett, and that's how they got John Bonet. Interesting. Anyway, the theories that John Bonet's parents committed the murder often stem from their strange behavior after the fact and the lack of footsteps of any kind in the snow surrounding their home. So there's no like footsteps walking away, and it was snowy. So that's like, well, the killer had to be in the house or something, or...
Oh, I just thought of that. If my Halloween episode where Alana did the Hinterkaifeck murders, and he was like living in the house.
In the roof, yeah.
So also I think people get suspicious because when he found his daughter's body, he carried her upstairs, he removed the tape from her mouth and covered her in a blanket, which could have destroyed important evidence. But that's, I think, ridiculous, because I think you can't ever know how you're going to react if you find your child. You don't want to leave them there. So that I kind of been like, what? No. The first thing you're not thinking is evidence, right? But that's why I didn't understand why the police didn't check the goddamn house. Why was the dad still in the house walking around looking for his child?
Yeah, with a random man.
Yeah, like why weren't the police doing a thorough check? That just seems bizarre. But that's what it sounds like. And a lot of the family and some of the other police officers were like, this is outrageous. This case has been so mishandled. Another theory is Burke Ramsey, the brother. He was 9 at the time. The theorists believe that he killed John Bonet when he angrily threw a flashlight at her head. There was a blow to her head and a flashlight in the kitchen where the two kids had allegedly eaten pineapple before bed. It was discovered that John Bonet had eaten the pineapple shortly before being killed. Because I think in like the video footage, if you've ever seen any video footage, you can see the bowls like sitting out on the table or something like it. Yeah. This is a popular theory. Also a theory, very alleged. We do not support any theory here. Just disclaimer. There was 2 years ago, CBS, which is a station in America, had a special called The Case of John Bonet Ramsey that aired a few years ago in 2016. Professional investigators looked into the case and interviewed friends of the Ramseys and concluded that Burke likely did it. In December 2.
Burke did it.
Yeah. 2016, Burke filed a lawsuit against CBS for a massive $750 million in defamation, which is pretty fair. Also,
Yeah,
it seems
it's pretty
crazy that
serious.
they would literally do a whole thing about that a boy. I mean, whether he did it or not, he's not been convicted of doing it, and to do a whole program saying he did it is pretty shocking to me.
Yeah, what were their legal team thinking?
I don't know. It just
Like
seems
leaving yourself
bonkers.
open for that.
Maybe they thought the money they would make from ratings would cover any lawsuit that would come from saying that he did it.
I know. It's bizarre. So John Mark Carr, who had been arrested on the child pornography, who claimed he had done it, he isn't the one that murdered her, but he said stuff like, nobody wanted that little girl to die that night. Nobody. Carr said her death was an accident. I was with her when she died, but I was not the person who caused it. Carr claimed that he still knows the identity of the killer. He says that he staged the crime scene in order to throw the police off the track of the real killer. But he was obviously cleared of any charges after no tissue samples or bodily fluid matched his at the scene, contradicting his own story. Right, now we're going to get into the weird theories. So these are the really, offbeat weird ones, okay?
I'm so ready.
The first one is Santa Claus. Yes. So specifically, a Santa Claus impersonator named Bill McReynolds. 2 nights before JonBenet was killed, McReynolds was at the house dressed as Santa. He reportedly gave JonBenet a card that said, "You will receive a very special gift after Christmas." The vagueness of this message in the card has led some to believe that he was behind the murder. McReynolds claimed he was innocent, and he died in 2002. Okay, number 2. Katy Perry is JonBenet Ramsey, which is a big one on the conspiracy theorists. It's up there with Ted Cruz as the Zodiac Killer. A 2014 YouTube video claimed that JonBenet Ramsey's parents staged a murder and their child is alive and well, living life as a pop star, Katy Perry. The video cites lyrics from Perry's songs and says the two look alike.
Well, that's all the information you need. They've got similar lyrics and they look alike.
Totally credible. I mean,
Hard evidence.
evidence. Totally credible. So, and my final weird theory is that the owl did it.
Haven't they? They had more than one staircase.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
well,
I like it how it's like she found the note on the back staircase. It's like that's when you know they were made of money.
Yeah.
oh yeah, they have the fact that you have both the
If you've
back,
got
the
two
back.
staircases,
Yeah.
If you've got a staff staircase,
Yeah, you've got some money. So
you've got some money.
the owl did it, or another wild animal. Animal hairs were found on the body, and
Oh my god, I thought you were joking.
no,
I literally thought we were talking about owl theory.
no, I am. I was, but I was.
It's also legit.
Yeah, there was some crazy theory because there was some animal hair on the duct tape covering her mouth.
What? So an owl duct taped her.
Yeah, I don't. It's bloody ridiculous
But they're
because
rich.
it literally says, obviously an owl can't tie a knot, so no.
Yeah, but they're rich people, so there would have been a lot of fur coats hanging around. So animal hair is not a...
Yeah, an animal, back in the 90s, people weren't...
Back in the 90s, everyone had fur coats.
Everyone had fur coats, and they weren't so gung-ho about, animal rights as they are now.
Peter weren't going to throw a bucket of blood over you in the 90s.
No, they weren't. No, they all had... Peter was wearing a fur coat.
Exactly.
They were.
I don't think they were.
No, I don't think they were either, but... We love you, Peter! Yeah, so that kind of sums up the JonBenet Ramsey case. Obviously, I know there's a lot more, and there's a lot of brilliant podcasts out there that probably really deep dive into all the tiny, minute details. But we'd need to do a 5-part series, I think, on just that case. So I hope that I was able to sum it up for you. Do you guys have any thoughts, any questions?
I think the biggest thing for me is the ransom note. I always kind of come back to the ransom note. The fact that it was written on paper in the house. So whoever was involved found this notepad and said, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write a 2.5-page note. Just sitting in the kitchen. Hopefully nobody sees me. That never makes sense to me. No matter if you say, oh, well, it might have been a stranger who was obsessed with JonBenet because she was in all these pageants and she was very sexualized as a child, and maybe somebody saw her and was obsessed with her and yep, okay, I get that. But also, why would you sit in a person's kitchen writing this big long note if you had either just killed her or were planning to kill her, that never makes sense to me.
Yeah, and to write 2.5 pages, that would take some time.
Yeah, and what was the point of writing a ransom note when you left the dead child in the house?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
It did seem odd. The whole thing's very odd. I don't see how it wasn't somebody in the house.
Yeah, but then it's also like, if the parents or Berg did it, allegedly, then why would they write a ransom note knowing that she was downstairs?
Maybe they were just trying to...
Throw the police off?
Yeah, and then they think...
It seems silly. It just seems weird.
It
The
is
whole
so
thing's
frustrating, too, that this case probably could have been solved. You know, like when you hear about all the screw-ups and things, if things had gone even just slightly more right, like we probably would know now who killed JonBenét, but...
Exactly. No, you're totally right. And it probably wouldn't have become the case it did. It's because, but actually, like I said before, I didn't even realize like the police had done, like they didn't collect clothes and like for like a year later. How is that going to help you? A year later, what?
Yeah.
Did they not wash them? Like I don't know. It just seems bizarre. Or not even interviewing the boy as like a witness for however long later. I know he's young, but I'm sure. I mean, they still could.
They still would have. They still should have interviewed him.
Yeah, don't you think?
Or at least taken some sort of statement with a Guardian with them.
Yeah. Or I just still think...
Or even just, like, interviewing the parents, like, a couple days after the fact for, like, multiple hours rather than just, like, a check-in a few months later.
Yeah, it just seemed ridiculous that the way they handled it just is appalling. And also the fact that he found the body, the father found the body, why weren't the police... And why was he looking for the body? Like, why would... If your first thought is, my child's been kidnapped, and you genuinely think they've been kidnapped, why would you be searching your house? Or why wouldn't the police be just searching your house to see where they would have come in and out of the building?
I was under the impression that the police did search the house, and then he then searched the house for some reason, but they missed out a room, and that's where he found her.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know if that's right.
You could be right.
It was something like
I do
that,
kind of
though.
remember
It was very
something
odd.
like that.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe I did miss that bit out.
And also, it was like Christmas Day, Boxing Day. They're going to send, like, rookie cops out, the ones who got the short shaft on,
Yeah, but
like,
do you think...
the shifts.
But it's like, again, it's a
But
rich
still.
family whose little girl is like a child. I mean, I just still don't think they would necessarily send out... I don't know.
Yeah, but for, like, the initial
Thing.
call.
Yeah, like
from,
the initial
911 call.
responder sort of thing. But then that one, the detective, the first one on the scene sort of thing, she says she knows, which she went on TV to say she knew who did it.
That's bullshit.
I know, but why do that?
Yeah.
Like, why?
That's like, I'm lonely and I'm bored, so people please talk about me.
Yeah. Or she's getting paid to do it.
Or I'm actually I want to look it up and like see if I can find it online. I'm sure I can about because then what is there going to do 5 parts about? Unless she is literally in the whole thing alluding to it and just doesn't actually admit it to try to stay out of like legal trouble, like CBS didn't. I don't know. I don't really have.
Didn't Burke do an interview?
I don't think he
Also,
Recently.
side note, what a terrible name.
Burke.
Burke. I'm pretty sure he did an interview, like, it wasn't like recently. Yeah, on Dr. Phil.
He actually was on Dr. Phil. Are you
Dr.
sure he went?
Phil.
He went on Dr. Phil.
Do you not? Yeah, he went on Dr. Phil in 2016.
Oh, shit.
No,
I
but
didn't
no,
see
no, no,
that.
Did you not know this?
I didn't know he went on there because I know that Dr. Phil was because I think Dr. Phil's on CBS and I'm sure Dr. Phil
that
was
the same
talking
one?
all about it. But I didn't know he actually went
No,
on it.
Burke actually went on it. I seem to
Oh.
remember. Yeah, he's got like this navy blue jumper with like a shirt underneath, and it was like loads of people said that he was kind of creepy during it.
Okay.
And people were saying, like, his body language was, like, alarming. And there was, like, this huge, like, social media kind of storm.
Okay. No,
And
I
Dr.
do
Phil
remember.
Dr. Phil had to come in and be like, you know, he's just uncomfortable. It wasn't creepy. That's just, you know, imagine that tragedy happening. That's the way he is.
Yeah. I do remember it. I feel like it was like the Prince Andrew interview of 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I don't know. You know, I remember it's all coming back to me now. Yeah, or just mainly I keep remembering about the CBS special, and because they had do you know that the podcast is like Real Crime, Jim Clemente? Have you heard of him? He was like a profiler, and I think he writes for like the Criminal Minds and stuff like that, and he's like a retired profiler, and he went on and like had opinions and things about it on the show. It was just a real big deal that they would actually air something like this without like him ever being. I just remember that. And then actually, you're right. I think he did go on. He definitely did go on Dr. Phil.
Yeah, I just looked for it and it said he did 2 1-hour specials in 2016.
Nice. I have to watch that later. I love Dr. Phil. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
I wonder
So
if you can find it online.
that's your homework. If you haven't watched that already, I somehow totally forgot / missed that out with my researching.
I just remember like the aftermath of it, about how he had this like creepy smile.
Yes.
I think, at least for me, it always comes back to it was somebody that knew her, and somebody most likely already in that house.
Definitely.
Yeah. I agree.
Weird crime time.
So after that really depressing child murder, Merry Christmas.
Sorry, guys. Way to bring it. I know I brought it right down.
To finish it off, I thought we would go back to the true meaning of Christmas, which is theft. So there was a article on NBC News. We'll post it on our blog and stuff. So let me read you the first little bit. When baby Jesus disappeared last year from a nativity scene on the lawn of a Wellington, Florida community center, village officials didn't follow a star to locate him. No, there was a GPS device mounted inside baby Jesus because they just didn't trust Florida citizens.
That's amazing.
So after poor baby Jesus was stolen, they followed the GPS tracker, which brought them to an 18-year-old woman's nearby apartment. She was later arrested in the theft. But it seems like, based on this article, that churches, synagogues, governments are trying to protect their holiday displays using GPS trackers, because I guess like Christmas theft is just so rampant that they need protection.
You can imagine though, you've had one too many, sherries at the Christmas party, and you think it's a really good idea to steal the baby Jesus out of the manger from the local church or whatever, and then take it home with you.
Normal people would steal a traffic cone, right? No. Florida, they're like, I'm going to steal that Jesus.
Give
I'm
me,
gonna steal that baby
straight
Jesus.
for baby Jesus. I think I would go for like, maybe because it's like the smallest thing to run away with, because like why not go for like a shepherd or like a donkey?
You can't carry a wise man. That's
No, a wise
ridiculous.
man.
No.
And you don't really want to steal Mary. That's a lot.
Yeah, that could go, yeah.
Well, apparently this poor baby Jesus has been stolen for 2 consecutive years in it's Florida. We already done a episode on Florida Man, but Florida Man's been busy taking baby Jesus. And so some people are kind of like, oh, well, it's just a joke, it's just funny. And then some people are like, oh, this is like anti-Christian, like sometimes the stolen Jesus figurines have also been like defaced with like symbols and stuff. Like it's like a satanic cult kind of thing.
Oh.
That's a step too far.
But also, like, at the bank, like the pens that are like on the little pulley rope, like the little like round, like
The chain.
The chain.
Yeah. Well, why don't they just put Jesus on one of those?
That's very true. Or like when you rob banks, tellers will give die packs. I don't know if you've seen these before. Yeah, both of my parents used to work at banks, so they always tell me like their horror stories of like die bags. But so when the bag of money is taken a certain distance away from the bank, or the person opens up the bank, it explodes with blue dye. So it's obviously very obvious who stole the money. So maybe they just
What
need
if it just
to
like explode out of his eyes or something like really crazy?
yeah, like
Yeah, I think they really should have consulted us on their security measures.
we'll protect baby Jesus.
Well, I hope you guys have all had a really good holiday season, and we look forward to talking at you more in the new year. If you want to check out our website, murderfriends.com, we always have our sources that we pop in there and our blog. Follow us on Instagram, MurderFriendsPod, Twitter, MurderFriendsPD. If you have any articles or anything like that you really want to share with us, you can always email us at murderfriendspod@gmail.com.
Tell us your funny Christmas stories too. We want to hear them.
Yes, Christmas stories. Also, follow Ilana, Adventures in Naps. Well, you would have missed it now because literally today would have been the last day, so never mind. You can always
the cheese advent calendar people need to sponsor her next year. So
Yes.
tweet them.
Yes, send
She
me
will-
cheese.
She will rewrite your jokes, and they will be great jokes.
Agreed. All right, we'll see you next time.
Bye.